Hey Gearfacts friends, welcome to my review of the Akai Professional MPK25 Midi controller keyboard. Also works through USB. As you can see, we've got a whole lot of pads, the keys obviously, the control wheels and controllers up here. All of that can be programmed, so this can bring a whole lot of life out of an old MIDI instrument like the one I'm controlling here, which is a Yamaha DJX. So I've got a device from well into the new millennium, controlling a device from well in the old millennium. It just starts with a normal piano, which is obviously our default sound, and we have the other usual defaults such as a full tone of pitch bending and modulation. So nothing greatly unexpected there. Then we've got our pads. These are pressure sensitive. And what's interesting about these too is that if you've got a long slow sound, you can continue altering your pressure sensitivity after you've pressed the key. So if I've got that held down, I can then press harder or softer and the sound will change depending on what that particular patch's capabilities are and how it's programmed. Up here we've got our 12 control knobs, again all programmable. Then we've got our transport system here and utility controls in the middle. And while we're focused on the middle, I'll just show you the Arpeggiator, which is just a one-touch thing. So a very simple arpeggiator. You can edit it by going to the edit mode and changing the settings using this control dial up here at the top. So for the moment we might leave that on random arpeggiator over 3 octaves, and that'll save me the trouble of trying to play a decent tune for you. If we go to program change, we can then start to dial through the sounds that are on our MIDI destination, in this case the DJX keyboard. And we just dial through and press enter when we're on a number that we want to choose. Let's find a good synth sound. Forgot to press enter. So already we're starting to hear things that the DJX keyboard can't do on its own. But for the sake of the next part of this demo, I'm just going to take it to a sound that has some decay. This is probably not a bad place to start. And we're going to go back into the edit mode and add some control to controller number 1 here. So you just agitate the controller slightly and that'll put us into the mode where we're going to start editing parameters relating to that. Control change comes up on your screen. I know that's a little small for you guys there, but you press enter and you'll see now that we're controlling the controller number that we want to apply to controller number 1. So I happen to know that for the DJX, the controller number 1 is for sustain. So I've programmed that in now, and we'll switch the arpeggiator on. We'll go back to our program and turn the arpeggiator on again. Okay, so now when I turn controller number 1, we should get more sustain as the arpeggiator plays each note. Okay, and your device will have a whole range of control parameters that can be changed, and each one can be applied to the knobs or the pads over on this side. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, guys. There are so many control methodologies on this unit and so many parameters that you can control, limited only by the device that you are controlling. Remembering, of course, that this can connect to computers, so you can have incredibly elaborate MIDI setups, all controlled by this one quite comprehensive unit. I have to say, the actual keys have a stunning feel. They're just superb. I'm not much of a keyboard player, but those have beautiful resistance. They're very springy and lively. The control system is a bit painful. It's quite hard to understand where you're at in the system. Even though the display is very comprehensive and informative, in the first couple of hours of using this, I was finding myself stop-starting a lot and having to think about exactly where I am and what's going on. So that was a little frustrating, but as with all devices, that's something that you get used to as you use it more and more. The pads have a pretty good feel, but there are plenty of sensitivities and envelope settings that you can change to make those match up with the kind of forces that you like to apply with your fingers. And all of the other controls have an extremely high quality feel to them. Plenty of resistance, plenty of strength, and you're left with no doubt at all that this keyboard is going to last you an incredibly long time. Working our way over from the left-hand edge, this is the entirety of our connection setup here in the back of the MPK25, and I won't go through them because I'm sure anybody watching this video will have the knowledge to understand exactly what they're looking at here. The transport controls, of course, are just for editing on computers. They won't make your synthesizer stop, play, or rewind or fast forward through a composition that you're making. Those of you who know gear facts know that I don't use computers with music, and I make no apology for that, but it's good to know that those features are there for the people who want to use Logic, FL Studio, or any of those other very comprehensive music making programs. I'll put up some links to some other relevant things, guys. Thanks for liking, commenting, or subscribing. Please leave a comment if you're interested to discuss this kind of equipment, because I'm always up for that, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Gear Facts.